remember that Donald Trump has been doing this for years, of course, with the Epstein files, trying to make political capital out of them by saying, oh, it's Democrats that are implicated. Now, that's all well and good when Donald Trump was in opposition between 2021 and 2025. But once you're back in power and your supporters believe, oh, it's only Democrats that are in these files, let's see them, he carries the responsibility for bringing the files out. And of course, that's what he and his Justice Department, Pam Bondi, have flat out refused to do for months. So they tried to stonewall for months. And then as soon as the House Oversight Committee, which does have Democrats and Republicans, although it was Democrats that put out the key emails regarding Trump, as soon as the House Oversight Committee uses a different route to get information, which is to get material from the Epstein estate, and Trump is named as being in Jeffrey Epstein's apartment in the presence of at least one victim of Epstein, then he says, it's not me, Gov, it's not me. You know, go look at Bill Clinton, who, by the way, you know, according to the information we have, never visited Epstein's island. He did take several trips on Epstein's plane, but there's no other implication of him in Epstein's crime, who then says, go look at Larry Summers, whose crime appears to be an error of judgment in communicating with Jeffrey Epstein after his initial conviction, long after his initial conviction in Florida, and says, look, you know, just go after them, leave me alone. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more beyond that simple attempt to deflect attention.
So, Scott, what's remarkable as well is that loyalists, I mean, staunch loyalists like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who's this rather outlandish, colourful, shall I put it, representative from Georgia, who, as I said earlier, was prepared to walk across hot coals for Donald Trump, has now joined the Democrats, you know, in their vote in the House of Representatives. There are two other Republicans who've done the same with her. None of them about Trump's pressure. Tell us about the process in Congress and how this is going to end, and whether this will actually result in the files being released.
Yeah, I think this is why Donald Trump was flailing last night. You had four Republicans who joined the Democrats to get the necessary majority, 218 names on a discharge petition. That means they have to vote on the release of the Epstein files next week. Now, what's interesting is Marjorie Taylor Greene will get the headlines, especially with Donald Trump trashing her last night as a lunatic. But two of the other four were longtime Trumpist women supporters, Lauren Boebert of Colorado, Nancy Mace of South Carolina. The administration worked hard on them for days to try to get them to withdraw their names or not sign that petition. And both Mace and Boebert, while saying we still support Donald Trump in terms of his general approach, said we cannot withdraw our names because the issue here is that girls were abused. And then, of course, Thomas Massie was the fourth name of Kentucky, who has been a longtime opponent of Trump over the lack of transparency on Epstein and opposes Trump's on other issues as well. What will be interesting, Matt, is that we hear from journalists like David Schuster, who reported this several days ago. There are many more Republicans who are ready to come forward and to vote for the release of the Epstein files. They didn't want to be the decisive name on that discharge petition, but now that it's been adopted, how big will the Republican rebellion be against Trump to vote this out of the House, where it almost certainly will pass, and then will we have a similar rebellion against Trump in the Senate?
So basically what you're saying is that Republican representatives, or possibly senators, are caught between their loyalty to the president, and that's been pretty staunch, and their loyalty to the voters, who might get very upset for all sorts of other reasons as well with them next year.
And sometimes, Matt, maybe there's an issue of principle here. Maybe there are some Republicans who are not caught just between Donald Trump and voters, but they're caught between them and those young girls who were abused for years. Yeah. And as you just heard from our colleague, you know, how there was no accountability for many years, and still is no accountability for this. You know, some of them may actually have a moral reason to support the release of these files.
Sure.